Wow, there's so many people here. I can feel so much love from my Father in this room. I know it's been a difficult week for everyone, but for me, the opportunities I've had to meet with many of you, to hear your stories and see so many pictures of him, many of which I hadn't heard or seen before, makes me realize that he was far more amazing, kind, giving, and loving, a loving man and father than I ever realized. And while I know it's hard, I really hope many of you will stand up and share your memories, your words, and your stories of my dad with everyone this evening. He considered you all more than friends. He considered you family. Thank you all for being here. Each of us knew, loved, and remembered my dad in our own individual and special way. Earlier this week, I heard a friend of his say, if you knew Bill and didn't love him, well, there was just something wrong with you. I think, however you remember him, that we would all agree he was an amazing man who lived a great and full life. I wish I could wrap all that I have to say in some incredible story, but I wasn't bestowed the gift of storytelling like he was. What I can share, however, is from my heart. First, I'll remember him, as many of us will. I'll remember my dad for his foundation, which was his faith in God. He went to church every Sunday, no matter his health, and if Susan couldn't go, he'd go alone. His rosary beads, which he is holding close to his heart now, were always nearby. He would regularly recite the rosary, and he would always carry a prayer card or other religious memento with him wherever he went. I think it's also important to share that while he was raised Catholic, he had great respect for other religions too. Susan is a Methodist, so to be together, they would attend each other's churches every other week. I'll remember his giving. He was an incredibly generous man and gave both his time and money to causes that touched the lives of so many, to make the world a better place. He did this through the Lions Club, which was such a huge and important part of his life. He did this through his donations to charities. My sister Terry and I easily counted 47 different charities yesterday that we know he donated to. And by the amount of mail he gets, I expect there were a lot more. And he did this through his frugality. The more frugal he was in his life, the more he could give to others. I'll remember the pride that he had in his career. He would tell me that he loved the Secret Service every day of his career. He loved being a cop. He enjoyed catching bad guys. Susan just told me a story of when they were running an errand, and in front of them, 2 officers were apprehending a man, and how excited my dad got. He was retired, but he wanted so badly to jump in and help out. He was reliving his past. And as you know, the Secret Service gave him his stories to tell, and truthfully, every story was pretty amazing. I'll remember his love for me and for my wife Annika, for Terry, for Hope, for Sandra, for my mom, for his whole family, which you were all a part of. And I'll remember his great love for Susan. Susan, you are the reason he made it this far. His love for you and your love for him are the reasons we all had as much time with him as we did. Thank you. And as his son, there are some very personal ways I'll remember him as well. I'll remember my dad for his huge smile, much like the one you see on the portrait up here in front of you. I'll remember it when we spent time together on our adventures, like our Alaskan cruise, which was a turning point in our relationship, and when we saw each other in California or North Carolina. I remember it when I visited him here in El Paso, whether during the holidays or just a random weekend trip. I'll remember it in the pride in his voice when he told his stories, as if he was actually there and reliving his experiences. I take comfort in a consoling note to me from a friend who said, I see the resemblance in your smiles, and it's beautiful. I'll remember his strength, his persistence, and his perseverance. I asked him a long time ago, Dad, when does life get easier? And in his great wisdom, he said, son, it doesn't. But don't let that stop you. Many of you know that I asked him to be my best man at my wedding, which was scheduled 4 days after his 23rd and last radiation treatment of the 3rd time he would beat cancer. After that last treatment, he and Susan walked out of MD Anderson, got into a car, and spent 3 days driving from Houston, Texas to Highlands, North Carolina, including through Hurricane Joaquin. At 2 p.m. on Saturday, one day before our wedding, he and Susan walked into our wedding rehearsal. He had a huge smile on his face. He was going to make it. He could not be stopped. And I'll remember him for his encouragement and support. He was there for me. I'll miss him telling me how proud of me he was when we'd talk on the phone, or taking my hand and squeezing it as hard as he could when we'd see each other in person. I take comfort in a consoling note to me from a friend who said, "He must have been an incredible man to have raised a son like you." The day he passed away, last Sunday, I asked my sister, Terry, and my wife, Annika, I let Susan sleep. She had a difficult 3 days, to watch the sunset with me from our backyard, and the colors were all so beautiful. But as sad as it was to watch the sun slowly disappear over the horizon, I had a huge smile on my face and such happiness in my heart. He was 77. He lived a great and adventurous and full life. He fought the good fight. He finished the race. He kept the faith. I feel blessed to have gotten as much time as I did with him. He made me proud. And he has no more suffering. He's at a far greater place than here. He's where he belongs, at peace, and now he can truly live. I know that one of these days, he and I will meet again. We will share a filet and lobster tail, a Jack and Coke, and a slice of key lime. Well, a slice of key lime pie is my favorite pie. A slice of banana cream pie, his favorite pie. We will see a movie together. He will tell me an amazing Secret Service story that I hadn't heard before. And we'll take that trip to Las Vegas that we never were able to take together. But for now, I'm down here living, loving, and giving, looking up at him and smiling. And I know he's in heaven looking down at me, and Terry and Susan, and all of the people whose lives and hearts he touched. And he's smiling. Thank you for all of your love, Dad. The foundation of who I am is because of you. Dad, I love you. I'll miss you.